Hello and welcome. My name is Ian Pelham-Turner.
And my name is Helena Shard.
And welcome to our new show, the Royal Influencers Great Britain Show, being put out right across the world by ALB UK TV. This show is really designed now to highlight the values of the royal family in Great Britain, all the communities in Great Britain, and the values of people to promote them right across the world. So let's roll the titles and get on with the show.
So
We're on a new show.
We are. Great
and
to be
it's
back.
an incredible time for the two of us because
really good time.
Helen and I really at the moment we've both been working quite busily, I would say, to sort of say the least, to actually promote and start talking about the coronation and King Charles. But I think at the same time, there's a lot of interest at the moment.
I mean, there's a huge amount of interest. I mean, we've been revving up. I mean, we were doing a royal roundup. We're revving up towards the coronation. And there is a real sort of split, isn't there, in thought process towards it. I mean, there's lots of people who are so enthusiastic, which is brilliant. But there are a few that maybe are not as enthusiastic. And we're sort of in a bit of a more, I'd say a bit more of a rebel-y time. I don't know what you think, but there's a little bit more apathy in general.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, you know, we were talking about it earlier, and I think it's, you know, look what time we're in at the minute with everything going on, trying to make obviously a positive out of it. But, you know, we've got this sort of rising Republican feeling, cost of living, you know, people striking, the war, you name it. There's so much going on. And I just feel, you know, if you think about the coronation years and years ago, and everyone had come out of war, it was 1953, wasn't it?
Yes.
And people were excited. There was a lot of hope. And I think people are struggling. Did you watch, there was a Panorama documentary?
Yes, a BBC documentary. You see, for me, I think the royal family, King Charles, and certainly all the communities, the inbound communities in Britain, communities like the Albanians, have brought in so much value to Britain in the first place. And I think now we really need to give King Charles a chance. The royal family, please God to come back together again so that we actually have a unified royal family instead of talking about he said, she said, over there, over here. It's become fragmented. And I think the reality right now is Britain doesn't need fragmentation. Britain needs now a strong, unified country that will actually promote ourselves across the world. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I do think, I think, you know, the news 24/7, I think, is a little bit guilty in playing and sort of, it's sort of fragmenting. It's a bit divisive. So even if, I mean, obviously there is a family rift and we all know about that, but the media is making it worse because everyone's got their thought on it. And, you know, it's good to hear the positive things. Just something really small. Giles Brandreth was at Clarence House. And obviously King Charles, Queen Camilla, or Queen Camilla Consort at this moment, you know, has photographs of everyone around. And you wouldn't think it by the way everything's been played out. And you know, at the end of the day, they're family. And as a family, a private family, they can have their rifts. But this is about a coronation. This is for the people as well. And we have to all join together. Which is, I think it's getting that way, definitely. There's
totally
lots
agree.
of plus signs.
And there's so much pomp, ceremony. It's what Great Britain is great for. You know, I mean, we aren't just about to put on a world stage because from what I'm hearing at the moment, the whole of the world is coming to watch the coronation as well. And I think the reality at the moment, there is so much pomp, there is so much ceremony, there is so many values, and we will start showing, I think, some images of the coronation in a minute as well. But also this gold state coach, which is this is the third oldest coach in existence.
It is. So I think it was made in 1762.
Yeah.
It's been used, as you said, all the time. I'm interested to know, one of the things that people always ask is it made of 100% gold? Well, obviously gold is quite soft, isn't it? So can you imagine?
No,
it obviously does have a lot of gold on it, but it's not 100% gold.
Apparently it's gilt wood and gold leaf, and it has gilded sculptures on it. It has, reading from my notes, three cherubs on the roof, representing England, Scotland and Ireland. I wonder about what's happened to Wales. Perhaps Wales Wales did exist before I get Welsh people coming in.
I mean, the coronation is very Welsh-led, actually. There's lots of really amazing historical values there. But it's an 8-horse drawn carriage coach as well. You know. And I mean, the funny thing for me I think it's Queen Victoria always said, oh, it's the most uncomfortable coach there is. And the late Queen Elizabeth, she used to have a hot water bottle strapped to the seat underneath to keep her warm. So it's obviously not the most comfortable of coaches, but it will be used, not going,
but coming back. Absolutely. And I think they tried to make it interesting, didn't they? You know, they tried to make it hip. This 17th century, 18th century coach, they tried to make it hip by putting up a hologram.
Which is brilliant. That was brilliant. It was brilliant. That was for the Platinum Jubilee, I think, wasn't it? Which worked really well.
So for me at the moment, my feeling is the pomp and the ceremony is a great thing. I think all communities coming together, and we will talk a little bit more about some of the eccentricities that are going on around the country at the moment as well.
But just to say one thing about the gold state coach as well, it was actually made for George III. So it was initially made for him. So I think that's quite something. But yeah, the pomp and ceremony that's going on at the moment is fabulous.
It's great.
There's lots and lots of people as well that are just, they're being very creative, they're knitting, everyone's getting together and thinking, what can we do?
We will talk about those things a little bit further on in the show. But I think, you know, for me as well, talking about King Charles, the reality now is that I think basically he's waited all his life. He's been the longest heir apparent in modern history.
Absolutely.
You know, he became heir apparent when he was 3 years old.
3.
So,
can you
imagine? I think he's 73, 74, something like this now. And so he's been waiting over 70 years to get to this stage. So I think we should really congratulate him. We should congratulate the whole pomp and ceremony. I mean, we've been watching these nighttime things where they've been doing run-throughs at about midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And also there's supposed to be Westminster Abbey, a very tiny version at Buckingham Palace, where they're actually running through doing rehearsals, which I think is great, isn't it?
I think it's great. So with that, perhaps one of the things I think, you know, perhaps at the moment is obviously Prince Charles, as he was known for all his charity activities as well, and especially the Prince's Trust. So part of the process that we're going to run on today's show is to talk or show a couple of videos. The first video is really sort of talking about people who've gone through the Prince's Trust and and how they've been helped. So let's roll that video.
What? You think just because I was a roadman I can't do something else?
I might have been homeless, but I've always had a job to do.
I had kind of absolutely no means of capital.
Because I do, so I started something.
One single opportunity.
I'd never have a future. if I didn't take a step.
Things aren't over for you.
The Prince's Trust is important because it teaches you that you can be bigger than the ideas in your head.
I went from repping the ends to repping myself.
Started my own brand.
I found the place that helped me find my place.
And the people who helped me find my voice.
Look, I get it. I've been there. It's hard enough getting experience, let alone a job.
The first step is always the hardest.
Getting in touch with the Prince's Trust will help you.
So go on, make things happen.
You just need to start something. Take control.
So wasn't that a special?
I think it's amazing. I mean, King Charles, or Prince Charles, as obviously he was known as, instrumental in establishing something like 20 charities, and I would say the Prince's Trust is the most well-known one, and it's helped over 1 million people. It was set up in 1976, and it helps people aged 11 to 30. I had actually thought it was a different age group, but 11 to 30, giving essential skills, getting ready for work, job opportunities, and it's about, you know, everyone has the chance to fulfill whatever it is they want to do, and it's an amazing charity. And I would have to, I think as well, going back to a little bit to what we were talking about, how there's a little bit of apathy with the younger generation, and we've talked about positive messaging and things like that. It could be, obviously this is a brilliant age group, this charity to work with, to create that positivity.
I think I was listening to a former head of the Prince's Trust, and she's accompanied, excuse me, King Charles for many years as Prince Charles, and she said the amount of closeness and sincerity that Charles has with young people, and they showed back to him again. And when you follow it through, so many people who started off as perhaps not having the best of beginnings in life rose through the ranks of the Prince's Trust and have now become household names themselves as well. So I think, you know, so something like the Prince's Trust, again, highlights to me what King Charles wants to do in the future. He wants to bring all communities together, I know that. At the moment, for example, there is not an argument, but they are still, I think, discussing, because originally one of the affirmations that King Charles makes was that just, you know, to be defender of the faith. And now he wants to become defender of the faiths, plural. And I think this really sort of amplifies what Prince Charles wants to be in the future. He wants to be a king for all British people, and he wants to unite them as well. So I think that's really important.
I mean, everybody I speak to, they talk about how passionate he is. He really cares about people, faith, people excelling. And I think it does spring back to when he was at Gordonstone, and he was picked on terribly. And as a result, in a way, it moulded him into someone that was very passionate about anything he got his hands on, as we know, whether it's environmental or to do with, I don't know, building wonderful buildings. Everything is to do with people, and it was at a time where maybe people didn't really think like that. They thought he was a bit weird talking about it, but it's exactly those things, being tenacious, that makes him into this wonderful person and will make him into the strongest king. I'm absolutely sure.
I mean, he was a great tree hugger at one time, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah, me too.
And I think, you know, the reality is sometimes what was thought of eccentricities at the time have become quite normal now. And I think that segues us very nicely into what on earth is going on in Britain at the moment, because all sorts of eccentricities, you know.
I think it's fabulous.
Isn't it?
I mean, we are, I mean, come on, we're great. What are we known for here? One, eccentricity, but, you know, the fanfare and doing fun things and revving up to the coronation. And there's a wonderful section of society who are, one, great knitters, as we are here. And also they're doing things like, as I've seen, they're creating things to go on post boxes. They're knitting bits that go over the post box, which are all themed around the coronation and the royal family. And it's now getting bigger and bigger, and everyone's like knitting various things and plonking them around the UK, just leaving them as little presents. And I mean, there's so much memorabilia out there as well that's, you know, and I was watching little segments about how to create, what do you call them, things that you hang up.
Oh yes, yeah.
I can't remember what they're called, bunting. And
yes.
so people are actually being really, really creative and making their own fun things. I actually as well have a good friend who's been making a certain cake for the coronation.
Okay.
And she has, it's almost like she's got an icing, it's in the shape of a stamp, and it's got obviously the late Queen's head on. So it's going to be a cake with that on, and that's still for King Charles, and he would love that.
And of course there's the big lunch, isn't there, as part of the coronation as well, where it's going to be street parties.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope this really incentivises not only the eccentricities of Great Britain, and long may they continue. You know,
absolutely.
You know, we all have our eccentricities, I think. But I think at the same time, if it can bring people together, if it can really highlight, and this is what we were coming back to at the very, very start about how communities have been thinking of King Charles as well. If it can highlight and bring together all the communities and all the big values that Albanians and all the other communities in Britain have come and brought together, I think it's very important as well to go with that. But I just, first of all, I thought, no, this is, in Britain we used to have a thing on April the 1st called April Fool's Day, and I thought, no, this is an April Fool's joke, and someone has actually just created something and put it on top of a postbox. But no, this is true. This knitwear has been going on right across the country. So long may it continue. But I wonder whether we can come back again for a second, because I think it's very important for all the viewers right across the world who will be watching this show to understand again the Prince's Trust and some of the other values that it's done. So perhaps we can roll the second video now, which is all about people who have been helped by the Prince's Trust.
I was feeling unsatisfied with my current life choices.
I didn't really come out of school with any qualifications.
I was kind of feeling like, kind of lost.
No self-esteem. It was a dismal time.
I met a team leader who just told me about the programme.
I feel like the Prince's Trust found me, and like now I can do whatever.
The team programme gave me my fight back.
Team is, I think, one of the best loved, well-established and most popular Prince's Trust programmes. It's a 12-week personal development opportunity that helps those who are unemployed, 16 to 25, who really don't know what they would like to do. Young people come together as a team of people who don't know each other. They go off on a residential, they come back and they choose a community project that they want to deliver. They then go off on work experience for 2 weeks. They come back and harness all those skills and experiences by delivering a team challenge, and then finally it all culminates in a team presentation.
So we do residential. That gives young people the chance to do activities and sometimes go to places that they've never been.
Teamwork skills is massive. So you have leadership skills, communication and strategic thinking.
Watch out! Watch out!
We also have aerial adventure, where people have to support each other and they have to rely on each other.
What we try to do is, help them to understand the relation between those activities and real life. Something such as an abseil, which can be quite scary for somebody, is the same as applying for a job that you think that you might not be capable of doing.
You do something like that you've never done, like on top of the world, nothing can take you down from that.
Weeks 3 to 6 are a community project. They pick a project that they want to work on, they call them up, they fundraise for it, and then they implement it.
We are renovating a lounge and a kitchen for a charity for LGBT people. Personally, I've painted and decorated before. It was good to teach other people how to do it so they also can pick up skills.
The owners of the houses, they were like so grateful and everything, so it is a really great feeling.
The programme is about changing attitudes and understanding what it is to work as a team or support other people.
Week 7 to 8 are work placement weeks, so that gives them the opportunity to be completely immersed in a work environment.
The qualification is really important in the programme because it is nationally recognised. It gives them something other than memories to take away.
When you hear about young people who's turned their lives around and they come back to you after a number of years, it's incredible.
Since I did the team programme 2 years ago, I feel like I'm living a dream.
Now I volunteer for a young mums group called Break For You.
I applied for the Princess Trust job ambassador role and I got the job.
That was the catalyst for the rest of my life so far.
I've been through the programme and look where I am now.
Wasn't that fabulous? Again, you know, will you join us? Of course, I hope millions of young people now have already seen the benefit of the Prince's Trust. And I think, you know, the future of the Prince's Trust is assured under the leadership of King Charles as well.
Absolutely, and lots of the people that flourish actually carry on working with the Prince's Trust. So it just goes to show what a great body it is.
It is.
It gives such essential skills to people, and I really hope as well that lots of the young people actually go forward and form their own businesses, because it's going to be great for our economy.
I think so. I think absolutely right. Anyway, we are in ALB UK TV studios, the Albanian wonderful TV channel, and thank you to Halidon Castrati for his help in supporting shows like this as well, and supporting the communities in Britain at the same time. So it would be very remiss of me not to talk about someone who I met a couple of years ago, Prince Lech. Now, would you believe that Albania has a royal family as well?
Yeah, of course I believe it, absolutely. But I want to know why he's called Prince Lech and not King Lech.
Apparently, according to what I've been told, there isn't a kingdom anymore, so you can't have a king without a kingdom. So his grandfather was King Lech, and this is a very modern Albanian who studied abroad and then came back to Albania again, to Tirana. And really, I found him fascinating to talk to, because he really wanted to see the future of Albania. I think as part of the EU, I think was one of his sort of big things that he was looking for, and hoping that in reality, you know, that Albania could become a much bigger institution as well at the same time. And I think, you know, the reality with Prince Lech was he was a very modern prince, but he also believed in tradition at the same time. And afterwards he took me round, I'm not sure whether you would call it a palace, but it was a very grand house that he was with as well. And he talked a lot about his family, he talked a lot about the values of Albanians today as well, and how important that it is for them to be recognised across the world, because really Albanians now are in every major country in the world, and so the values they've brought to Britain as well, much denigrated at times at the moment, but you know, a very small percentage, 2% of Albanians may be doing something wrong. 98% of Albanians are doing fabulous in Britain today as well. And as I say, I think the whole idea of having a coronation brings communities together, and I hope it does. And I hope in reality that Albanians in Britain are inspired by the coronation as well.
I'm hoping everyone's inspired by the coronation. Everyone I'm speaking to is, so that's a long way. Hopefully we're all going to really enjoy it. It's fascinating learning all of that, I have to say. Hopefully one day I'll go to Albania, visit Albania, as I have Albanian friends.
It's a great country.
So that would be great.
Yes.
So, I mean, going back to what we were talking about as well, different cultures, etc. I think it's really lovely to see that the royal family are actually out and about and meeting so many people in a really quite relaxed fashion, which I think is great. I mean, recently, Duke and Duchess of Wales, we saw them in Birmingham, which was absolutely fun. And what's her name? Hammond. I want to say Alice, it's not. Alison Hammond,
yes.
Was escorting them in Birmingham. It was hilarious. I mean, she was really, it was, you know, they were in an Indian restaurant. They were just being, and just really very normal as they are. And people really enjoyed seeing them and really valued, you know, having them there and just chatting. It's so important.
I think as well, it was very interesting because there has been this BBC Panorama programme talking about the influence and the relevance of the royal family as well. And quite a lot of support was not with King Charles, unfortunately, but wanted to see King William instead. So what do you think about that?
I don't know. I'm in two minds about it. I mean, I feel you're talking about the younger generation here. When I was watching, again, it comes down to positive messaging. I think things will change. We're at a very argumentative time, I think, in our world. And I'm not 100% sure. I mean, if you rewind back to Camilla when she first met Charles, and the upset, and I think there's probably still a few people that are not too happy about her being queen. But absolutely. Look at the PR. Look at the PR, amazing PR that's been done there. Absolutely. Which anyone have ever believed that Camilla would be Queen Camilla when you think back all those years.
I absolutely agree.
So the importance of good PR and getting out there and being authentic and just speaking to the people. It's not an us and them.
I totally
and I
agree.
think people are realising more and more how lovely and how influential having a royal family is.
I totally agree. Now, you were saying just before we came on here, you were hungry this afternoon. This is going to make you more hungry, isn't it? Because I think you know a little bit about a new royal dish.
Well, I feel a bit sad because I did say that I was going to bring something that I was going to cook this morning, but fate took a different course. I won't go into that. But I was going to bring you in something wonderful, which is something it's called the coronation quiche. And everyone's been talking about this coronation quiche. I think it's a very, very good idea. It's a meal that everyone can cook for the coronation. So again, it means it's bringing everyone together. It's a very easy dish to cook. People can share it, so you can just cut it up into slices and people can grab it. But the dish that they have chosen, and I think it's King Charles and Queen Camilla that chose it, it's a vegetarian quiche.
Absolutely, I noticed that, yes.
And it's cheese and eggs, I think, are King Charles' favourite thing of all time. And it sounds odd because it has, I was about to say chickpeas. It's not chickpeas. What do they have in it? Lots of tarragon, I hear, and broad beans. Yes. That's it, which sounds odd, but in fact it's quite delicious. Now, I know everyone that's tried it has said it's a fabulous thing to have. So I'm sorry, I was going to bring something in for us to try and sample and share with the guests, but it didn't happen.
As you know, it's my birthday tomorrow, so perhaps I might
can have it for your birthday.
We're having an afternoon tea party. We're having our royal afternoon tea party at the flat tomorrow with some of my friends, including the wonderful Helena here as well. So I think that's a great thing to do. But how do you feel about the future now? Do you feel more confident that King Charles is coming on the throne?
I really do. I absolutely do. He works, I mean, I'm a fan. He works incredibly hard. He's thrilled to be king now. I mean, long time in training. I mean, if you think, you can imagine it, watching your mother in 1953 wear the St Edward's crown, and you know at the age of 3 how much he did know that he was going to be king, and now actually he's going to be crowned with that same crown.
Absolutely.
That crown has been taken out of the Tower of London, it's been fitted to fit him. This is such a historical time, isn't it? And I just think he's doing so much good. And although you mentioned about the younger generation maybe not being as keen, I don't know. I think people are, it's going to filter in. People are seeing his good thoughts.
And technology has caught up with the royal crown as well, because I was talking to a gentleman the other day from America who produces holograms, and I think he is the official hologram producer for the royal crown and several other artefacts from the royal collection at the Tower of London. So now he is saying that if we do a TV program in the future, he said, all we have to do is tell him, and he'll float the royal hologram of the crown between us or on someone's head.
It's great, isn't it?
Do you know, I think anything that creates interest, fun, and values, and technology as well, because this was the most amazing technology at the same time, I think is going to be great. What do you think of Queen Camilla?
I think she's fabulous. I think she's bright, she's incredibly warm, authentic, genuinely cares, a great communicator. I mean, as you know, when we're doing our royal photography, the one person out of all the royal family who would wave and be really engaging and want to talk.
Absolutely.
Camilla. I mean, she's so good, and she wants people to do well. I think she gives hope. You know, she has her reading things that she does and wants to instill, you know, wants every child to do well. So I just think she's great, and I actually do think they're a formidable couple. I think, you know, the past is done, you know. Yep. Let's move on. They're a great, and isn't she good for him?
Yep.
She's good for King Charles.
Totally agree.
Definitely is his rock.
So what would you think are your last thoughts, because we have to wind up the show now?
We do. I mean, there's so much. I mean, goodness me. I mean, firstly, I want to say it is Anzac Day today. Just something that we should mention, and that's obviously remembering every Australian and New Zealand soldier from the Great War. And I know Prince William, I think it was at the plaque this morning. Okay. So that was laying poppy wreaths and everything. So I think that's something to mention. I think we've got a lot to look forward to. I think everyone should tune in for the coronation. I think even if you're not overly keen, or you just think, oh well, you know, this is a moment in history. It's something so special. It is going to be televised as well, so just to sit down with some nibbles with your vegetable quiche and join in and just think it's, you know, I think it's definitely the way forward. And I think lovely as well to see the royal family coming into force. Lovely to see Prince George as well is going to be used. I think it's lovely, you know, it's bringing in the children.
And when it comes, that photograph of Prince Louis the other day. He was 5 the other day.
Prince Louis is 5. I mean, that was a lovely photograph. Isn't he the image of Catherine's father?
Yes.
He definitely is, Papa Middleton, if ever I saw it. Beautiful, really funny. He's a very cheeky chappy. But I think to say that about Prince George is going to be a page of honour to our king, and that's a fabulous role for him to have. Yes. I mean, essentially it will be, you know, carrying the robes through the nave of Westminster Abbey. But again, this is history. He's 9 years old. Normally you would be a sort of 14 or older teenager to do that, but he's a grown-up chap. And I think the good thing about children, I'm thinking about Harry and Meghan and bringing everyone together. I think the children will definitely do that, and it's a happy family. I'm really pleased to see as well, you know, our thoughts on wanting things to be positive, that the photograph that's used in the souvenir brochure for the coronation, which is just a sort of intimate family, you know, King Charles, Camilla and Duke and Duchess of Wales. It's changed, hasn't it? And obviously Harry and Meghan. So that's a way forward. And I think there's so much to look forward to. And the royal photographs that are coming out at the moment, one of the, I'm just going to sort of end on that. A link in really, it was lovely that King Charles and Camilla were in Aberdeenshire having a wander. Again, that, you know, they're very, very casual and everyone was thrilled to see them. I think it was in the fish shop, it was called, in Scotland. But one photograph that Catherine took, Kate Middleton, which has come out, was just in memory of the late Queen. And it was her sat in Balmoral in her favourite place with all of her grandchildren, well, the most of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren around her. And it was just a picture, it's sort of like a young at heart picture, and a really lovely memory, I think, for them all to have with them. But we could speak forever.
I know, but unfortunately,
we have to wind up though.
Time has wrapped us up this time round. So I hope you have enjoyed the start of a new series on the Royal Influencers Great Britain show. Our aim is really to highlight all communities, the values of communities, to promote Great Britain across the world and to promote King Charles and the royal family across the world at the same time. We thank very much Helidon Castrati and the team at ALB UK TV for giving us the opportunity to be able to do this. And really, I think at the moment, both Helen and myself want to see a positive, united, strong Britain once more. So with that note, I would say goodbye. So for me, Ian Pelham-Turner.
And me, Helena Shard.
I hope you have a great time. We'll try and do another show before the coronation. Stay safe, stay happy, stay tuned. Goodbye.